The findings from the State Inspector General of Education raise serious questions about the possibility of fraud. Right now, City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby has yet to say whether she would investigate city schools, but the three people looking to replace her say if elected, they would. The findings of the Inspector General of Education report exposing what the governor calls egregious behavior by Baltimore City Public Schools. More than 12,000 grades changed. The probe indicating teachers changing failing grades to passing due to pressure from administrators, while spending state and federal tax dollars. The Rue Vignaraja, former local and federal prosecutor, launching plans to create a new unit dedicated to tackling something Baltimore City has grown numb to over the years.
Bottom line, we can't wait any longer. On day one, we will create a public corruption unit.
Something he says the unit would investigate, the findings of possible fraud inside city schools. While the governor has called on state and federal prosecutors to investigate, Vignaraja says it should come as no surprise the governor is not calling on City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby to do the same.
She's plainly, at best, distracted. And so I can imagine it would be very difficult to open another serious investigation against public officials when you yourself have been under investigation or now under indictment and are preparing for trial.
It's not just Vignaraja who says the state's attorney's office should be probing a failing education system.
It is something I would take on.
Ivan Bates, also a candidate for the top prosecutor position in the city, says through his defense work he comes face to face with some of the failures in the classrooms across Baltimore.
Unfortunately, now a lot of the young people that come across, if I ask them to write what happened, they can't write. So that tells me the school system's failing. This isn't shocking to me, but to me it's sad, because at the end of the day, they're failing our children.
But he says Mosby's staff is not equipped for such a complex investigation.
Let's be realistic. In that economic crimes department, there's one prosecutor. That prosecutor, I don't believe, has ever investigated a crime of this nature.
Not running in the Democratic primary, but seeking the state's attorney's office as an independent. Roya Hanna says the top prosecutor's office in the city should give the findings of the OIG to a grand jury and fully investigate how widespread the problem is and who's responsible.
You just need one person who is willing to lead that charge and take this issue on and not stick their head in the sand.
Because while the findings are still surfacing, she says it's likely more questions will arise.
It's frustrating. It is a frustrating thing that we keep allowing our kids to fail when we know the consequences.
While Baltimore's children are left to face the consequences of administrators changing their failing grades. We've asked City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby's office if she has been in contact with state partners regarding an investigation or whether she would look at these findings and launch her own. Those questions going ignored. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.